repairs and having to take them out of the wall. The other thing is you don't see any grills, which is a real big thing on a lot of people's mind when they want an invisible speaker and an in-wall speaker. Is a lot of them don't really want to see the grills. So we came out with this product that is completely has 0 grills, and once it's done, you will not see it at all. And so it brings us to our invisible speaker line, which is our, like I said, our 6th generation, our LRG series, which we've won many awards, and we'll get to that right now. So the first one I'm going to show you is our LR6G. It is our smallest speaker. Basically, it's ideal for places where you can't fit a normal one of our other speakers. It's good for background music, for surround, for your rears, for distributed audio through hallways, corridors, things like that. Voice paging, and of course sound masking or white noise. They're great for those places where you just can't fit a normal speaker in. You basically can fit these into pretty much any place you need to fit. And then we go to our LRG or LR8G. It is our full range two-way visible speaker. This is what you would mostly use for distributive audio. This is what we recommend. We recommend these more than the LR6s, only as long as there's enough space to put the LRG. You're definitely going to get better quality sound, and the customer will be happier with the LRG as opposed to the LR6. But again, it all depends on space and things like that. So again, distributive audio, home theater surround sounds, these are really great for those. Background music, and things like that. And then we have our SLR8G, which is our two-way single stereo invisible speaker. These are perfect for people wanting stereo sound in, say, their bathroom, and you don't have enough room to put 2 speakers. This is perfect for that. For background music, for places where, like I said, you don't have a lot of space for 2 speakers, this is a perfect application for that. Then we get on into our higher end stuff, which is our LR3G series. This is perfect for left, right, center theater, home theater systems. It's great for that. We have a high, 2 mids, and a low range parts on these. Again, these are the speakers we put into our patio theaters for the left, center, and right. They're perfect for home theater. And then our highest end that we have right now is our LR4G series, which basically, as you can see, there are 2 different panels, which is not normal in what we usually do. The reason for that is this is for turning up loud. And as you know, if you have a lower frequency vibrating the face of that panel, and then you try to add in the high and you turn it up, you get kind of a little bit of a distortion. What this does is it actually separates the low from the mid and the high, so you don't get that distortion. And it's great for people who want to turn up the volume, who like to listen to or have a home theater system that's really loud, things like that. This is a perfect one for that. Okay, so to pair with our speaker series is our B series, which is our subs. These are the things that are going to produce the bass that people are looking for, that you're not going to be getting from a normal traditional invisible speaker. Even ours, where we have the cone woofer, there's certain points, especially during movies, when you're trying to get those explosions or really low bass. These are going to be perfect for that, for those customers who are think that just the speakers are a little lackluster, these are to be added in. So the smallest one we produce is a B22. This is basically, it's a small compact sub. We use this for the LR6 is what we would recommend these go with. Because the LR6 is a smaller speaker, doesn't produce enough low end sometimes. You add these in, it gives you that low end that the people are looking for without having to bump it up to the B30, which I'll show you in a minute. What you can do with these is if you roll off that LF frequency, the lower frequencies you can basically transfer to B22 and not have the LR6 where, like I was telling you before on the LR4, why we separated them, you don't get that distortion that you would get if you start turning it up. Onto our B30s. B30s basically are great for people who don't want to have the subwoofer box or things sitting in their house somewhere over in the corner, not doing anything. This allows them to have the bass that they're looking for without having to have the extra equipment sitting around. They fit perfectly into bays. You don't have to put them perfectly anywhere. That's the awesome thing about our speakers. Any place you can find a stud bay for it, you can put these into and add a little extra bass for movies, music, things like that that your customer would be looking for. And then we move on to our 7th generation speaker, which we have actually just came out with this year. We came out with the LRX83, which is an 8-inch three-way speaker. What we've done with the X series is we've actually incorporated advanced materials in the face, some carbon fiber, some sheet aluminums and things like that, where we've used a new lamination process to adhere those products to the face of the speaker, which allows us to tune the speaker in a way that to basically get the sound that you're looking for. We've moved them around. We've done many different tests to improve the performance of the sound, and the LRX series is awesome. We've got all new updated transducers, some other components in there changed. These are basically for your customers who like the invisible speakers, but they want that step up. We've been asking, or people have been asking us to produce something that's a little more of a step up than what we are producing now. And what we've done now is we've incorporated these carbon fibers and aluminum to do that. And so this is the only LRX speaker we have out right now. We brought it out in ISE last year. We had great reviews on it. All of our dealers, all of our reps, everyone who came by definitely noticed a difference with the LRX83 as opposed to our LR8G. The LR8G is a two-way 8-inch speaker. This one is a three-way. It allows for better, crisper sound, perfect for home theater, surround sound, and specifically Atmos, where you're trying to get that 360 degrees of sound. This is a perfect addition for that. So now that you've seen our invisible speakers, I'm going to show you some of the accessories that come along with them and also how easy they are to install. So first off is our shim kit. Every speaker is sent with shims to basically allow for flexibility of different types of manufacturing of buildings. A lot of times in the United States, we have half-inch drywall, and there's some places where they have 5/8 drywall. And what happens is our speakers are designed to meet up with the drywall. The framing has to meet up with the drywall, so when they start to mud, that you're not mudding over the face. And I'll show you that in a little bit. But like I said, each one of our speakers come with a shim kit just so you're able to shim the speakers up to the correct depth and meet up with the drywall. Now we also have place savers. Place savers are great because you can buy a bunch of them, you can use them, and they are able to be used again. You don't have to buy brand new ones each time. And what they are is new construction. Once the framing and everything has gone in and you have figured out where your speakers are going to be going, you will go in with all of your place savers and you'll put them in before the drywall is put in. And what that does is it allows for the speaker to not have to sit there and get damaged as all of the construction people are walking around with drills, things like that, where they might damage the speaker before you're actually able to hook it in. So what this does is makes that place saver. You're able to put your back box in there, you're able to put this in there, and it allows the drywallers, when they come in before they mud, to know exactly where you're going to have the speakers, and they will actually put the sheetrock around these for you to come in before mudding to put the speaker in. And then we have a wood back box for those applications where you want a back box, you don't need a metal back box. A lot of, in the United States, we use a lot of wood back boxes and not metal back boxes. So that is for isolating the sound from the adjoining rooms. It also allows for the speakers to work correctly without having a huge open bay that it has to fight against to get the sound out. And we have a adjustable metal back box, and this is for those applications where you don't have a perfect 16 on center stud bay. There's certain places where you have 13 inches and you have to have a back box in there. This allows you to conform to whatever bay size you have. Then we have a metal back box for masonry. What this is for is probably, you guys would be using this a lot in your guys' construction, I believe, because in Mexico, I believe you guys have a lot of concrete or hard wall kind of construction. What this allows is you can put these into place where you want them, and then when they come into concrete or whatever finish or wall they're going to be putting in, you can actually have them form around that. And then you have the wood there to allow you to attach the speakers to. And then we have metal back box. It's just basically a normal metal back box. You attach it to the studs, you put the speaker in there, and you attach it to the box, and it allows you to have that back box for isolation. So I'm going to go through a few steps on how it is to install these. And like I said, this is going to show you how easy it is. So basically, place saver, you're going to put the place saver in there, you're going to run your wire, and then you're going to wait until the drywallers come in. And when the drywallers come in, they're going to drywall to that, they're going to drywall around it, and then you guys are going to come in and you're going to take the place saver out once the drywall is done. So, like I said, it allows you to keep the speaker from getting damaged. It allows it where you don't have to cut into the drywall after they come in, and it makes installing it a lot easier. Once that's in place, you have your wire and you're taking it out, then you're going to figure out, you're going to start to put the speaker in. And once the speaker is in, you're going to test and see and make sure that it is exactly equal with the drywall that is unmudded. And the reason for that is, if you look over the right, the face panel, you'll notice the face panel is raised up a little bit. And what that is that's the actual, the material that gets energized by the speaker. You don't really want to cover the face of the speaker with any material. You can put some material on, but we don't recommend more than, I believe it was 1.5 millimeters worth of material. Any more than that, you actually start to cut down on the quality of the sound coming out. It starts to sound muffled. So that's why it's really important that you meet the frame up with the drywall exactly, and that's what those shims are for. Because if you drop it down a little bit and it doesn't come up all the way to the drywall, what will happen is when the drywallers come in to mud, they're going to see that that is dropped down a little bit, and they're going to add extra mud to make everything smooth. So that's why those shims are important. And so in each speaker's box, we actually send, like I said, those shims. We also send tape to allow you to attach the shims. So as you're putting them in, they're not falling off. You're going to get a perfect fit, things like that. Here's detail of the different drywall and why it is important to meet up with the drywall. Basically, you see the 5/8 where the person has had to add some shims in to get it up level. And then you see also a 1/2 inch where you had to add just a small shim. But again, it is important for it to meet up with that. It's not the mudders are going to come in and they're going to mud all over that speaker. So once you've got everything and you know it's ready to go in, you're going to attach the speaker wires. We've actually included a plastic terminal wrench to make sure that you're able to tighten them down good. And before you install it, of course, you want to jiggle the wires, make sure nothing's going to come loose, nothing's going to untwist, things like that. And then from there, you're going to attach the panel to the wall or to the studs. We provide screws for you to drill it in. All of the speakers are already pre-drilled with all of the holes that you're going to need, and it is recommended that you use all of the holes. Otherwise, you'll get reverberation or places where if it's not fully attached to the stud, it might vibrate and it might start to crack a little bit. That's why it's recommended you use all the holes and screw it down well. From there, you want to make sure that the outer edges of speakers flush with the drywall again, so they don't over mud. You can test that by taking a straight edge, and what you're going to do is when you put it across the speaker, the middle of the speaker will actually protrude out about 1.5 millimeters, and that's the amount of mud that they should be putting on everything else, so they're not having to mud over the face of the speaker. And what they do is they'll feather out from the sides, and they'll never really want to go to the middle of the speaker, because that's where all the sound's coming out, of course. So before you do any taping, mudding, or whatever, before you have the drywallers come in to mud, make sure you test every single speaker. You never know when there'd be damage from shipping or things like that, and once it's mudded in and you go to test the speaker, if it doesn't work, it's going to be a real big hassle. So we recommend every speaker is tested before you actually drywall or mud it in. And of course, in each speaker, we also include mesh tape to apply the mud for your drywallers, or you can use paper tape if that's what the drywallers need. Doesn't matter to us. We include that for you, though. Once the drywallers come in, what they're going to do is they have their way of drywalling, and as long as you've hired professional ones, they should be able to figure out or be able to do this rather easily. What they're going to do is they're going to take their mud and they're going to start from the edges and fan out toward the drywall. They're not going to fan toward the center of the speaker, because doing that will add more mud, which will make them have to add more mud onto the side. So as long as they're just fanning out, everything should be good. You put a skim coat, and like I said, there are certain parts where, hey, they need to cover it up for smoothness. And as long as they don't put more than 1.5 millimeters of material on it, it won't affect the quality of the sound at all. Now, this is a big thing that we have a lot of problems with in construction and drywall. Is when the drywallers come in, they're coming in and they're trying to get everything done as quickly as possible, and so they'll apply a layer of mud and they'll wait a short amount of time until they think it's dry, which a lot of times the surface might be dry, but underneath is not fully dry yet. And so what will happen is they'll come in and they'll actually mud over half-dried mud. And what happens is over time, the mud that was on the inside that's now fully trying to dry will actually start to shrink and start looking like it's cracking along the edges. So it's a really big deal to make sure that the drywallers know not to mud quickly and to do it over a decent amount of time and make sure everything is dry. Because the worst thing is to have happen is the customer comes in and after about a month, they're looking at their brand new speakers and they're like, well, I can see my speakers now because now it's got cracks all along the edges because the mud has now shrunk. So once you've done that and they've sanded it smooth, they're going to apply a little bit more compound if they need. Then they're going to sand it smooth. They're going to make sure it's all smooth and ready to go. And once that's done, then you're allowed to put whatever finish that you want on there. You can apply paint, you can apply texture, you can apply wallpaper, you can even apply some wood veneers, and it won't affect the quality of the sound at all. So, onto our amplifiers. When we first came out, we didn't produce amplifiers. We didn't think there was a need for it because there were so many amplifiers out there. And what we found is our speakers are power hungry. They like a lot of power to sound, they need a lot of power to sound good. Up to about 100 watts of power. Shouldn't be that bad, but what's happening is nowadays you get receivers that can't push out the amount of power that our speakers need, and so we came out with our own line of amplifiers for both our speakers and our subwoofers. The SA2400 Mark II. This is our second generation amplifier of the SA2400. This is a 2-channel high current amplifier with a DSP in it. Now, each one of these SA2400s come with DSP curves and presets already for all of our stealth speakers. So if you buy our stealth speakers, let's say you buy some LR4s and you put them in the wall and you buy one of our amplifiers and you hook it in, all you have to do is set the preset to the LR4 preset, and those LR4s are going to sound perfect the way that they're supposed to be sounding, as long as they're mudded correctly and installed correctly. And then we go on to our SA255, which is our subwoofer amplifier. It is basically, it filters out all of the other noise and just basically takes in that low end where you're allowed to pick which frequency you want. And those have worked really well for our subwoofers. And then on to our Stingrays. The way we kind of came out with the Stingrays was we had a lot of people asking if they could install our invisible speakers outside. Our answer to them was yes, because the face of our speaker is actually a fiberglass material, so it's water resistant and things like that. The only thing once we started thinking about it is the things that will start going wrong on our speakers are the components that would be exposed to the elements, the drivers, the transducers, things like that. So what we did was we actually pulled our LR8 and our LR6 out of the wall, and we put it in a completely weatherproof enclosure. And when we did that, we had to get it tested and certified. And what we did was we submerged it for, I believe it was 68 hours or something to that effect, where we had no leaks, no nothing, and so we have an IP68 rating on those. Just like our speakers, they can be painted, they can be finished with a wallpaper, veneer, things like that, pretty much anything that your customer's going to want. We've also had people ask, and we've put into boats. Boats are a real big thing with speakers because the salt water starts to corrode anything metal in it. With our speakers, it's completely enclosed. There's nothing to rust. There's nothing to fail on these. So our LR, or our Stingray 6. Basically, this is our small 6-inch speaker. These are great for just distributive audio outside. Nice thing is, like I said, you can wrap them in anything you want. I've told customers that if they have a bush where they want to throw a speaker in and they don't ever want to see the speaker, they can take a picture of that bush. We can wrap it in the picture of what that bush looks like, and they can throw it into that bush and they'll never see it because it's going to look like that bush. And then we have our Stingray 8, which is our 8-inch weatherproof enclosure. Great for outdoor music, great for outdoor cinema, surround speakers, for yachts, boats, poolside and things like that. We've actually had a customer, we designed a way where they were actually able to recess these into their boat and cover the speakers in the decal or the pinstripes or the colors of the boat, and nobody could ever see that it was there because it looked like the boat. It was kind of interesting. And then we've come out with a Stingray 430, which is our subwoofer Stingray. Basically, in it, we have 4 B30s, completely weatherproof enclosure for those people who want bass outside for, say, an outdoor theater, outdoor music, things like that. This is a great addition for the lower end that people are looking for. And this is the customization that you can do. We've had all sorts of different people ask us many different things on what they could wrap it in. We've had people who wanted it to look like rock, and we've sprayed it in a granite. We've had it where they wanted it to look like somebody was putting it into a old barn, and he wanted the old wood look to go and continue across it. And so the part that was going to be taken out, they took a picture of it, sent it to us. We wrapped the speaker in that picture, and where they cut it out, it was a perfect following of the grain and everything, and so it looked like part of the barn. You can wrap it in, like I said, anything. You can spray it in pretty much anything, and it'll work. Then we move on to our image art speakers. We actually just won an award on our image sub. It's an on-the-wall subwoofer that basically you're able to wrap in anything that you want. If you have pictures, things like that you want to show, instead of just having a picture there that doesn't do anything, you can have a picture there that actually produces sound. Great for like a museum setting if they have some pictures for showroom or even offices where they want to have distributive audio, but they also want artwork. You can have these scattered all over and be producing sound and have artwork as well. Then we go on to our cover art, which is basically it's a frame with a picture over your TV. So when you're not using your TV, you're able to cover it with a piece of art, and when people come into your house or into the customer's house, they see a piece of art. They don't see a TV that's not being used. It looks kind of elegant, kind of nice. But then we have our cover art trilogy, which incorporates our Image 3 speakers along with the cover art for the TV. So what this is when someone comes in and they look at the TV where the TV should be, they're going to see a piece of art. It can be one picture knocked into 3 different images where you have the continuation of each image on the speakers, and then the main image is on the cover art, or you can have 3 different pictures. It really is up to your customer, but it allows you to customize it. We customize each one of these. When the customer wants one of these, they actually get onto our site. They can send us an image that they have, and we will work on it. They can choose from hundreds of images that we have in our database, or they could buy a piece of art and send us that, and we will put that on there as well. Each one of them, like I said, is custom built. They have to send us the model number of the TV, the size, and all of that, and we research and find out exactly the size we need, and we custom build the frame and the artwork and everything. On to one of our biggest products we've had in the last few years, the Stealth Patio Theater. Stealth Patio Theater was kind of it was an idea from the owner, where he wanted to be able to give people the TV that they wanted outside that they weren't able to get with the projection screens that were available at the time. Most high-end homes that had a home theater outside, it was almost always a projection screen, or was the biggest TV that they could come up with that was somewhat wrapped in plexiglass so that they were able to watch TV outside. With Stealth Patio Theater, you're able to have this basically anywhere. You can, one of the first customers we had didn't want the enclosure. He wanted the patio theater to come out of the floor of his pool house. So what we did is we took all of the equipment over there, cut a hole in his pool house floor. We dropped the patio theater in there. Whenever he wants to watch TV from his pool, he hits a button, it comes right out of the floor, and he's able to watch whatever he wants. He entertains a lot, and it was a really awesome kind of a project. Also, we've had people who have taken it and they've buried half of it up to the speakers so they can still use the speakers, but they just didn't want the amount of height that it has. One of the biggest one we produced, I believe, is a 155, and the height on that is pretty tall, and I'll show you those figures in a minute. So basically, large format audio video solution. It's a complete turnkey solution. You're able to get just the screen if you just want the screen. If you wanted the screen and the enclosure and the speakers, you can get that, and also includes the rack if you want, with all the equipment to run it. We've had people come in and buy the whole turnkey solution and go and drop it into say a hotel or a motel for them to rent. And they've had people rent the patio theater from them for family nights or movie nights and things like that, where the customer actually was making their money back on the investment of the patio theater. Same technology you see in those LED signs you see on the roadside, in Vegas, things like that. Same technology. You're able to see it in direct sunlight, which you're not able to do with projection. We have resolutions up to a P3. It's in a completely weatherproof enclosure. It even has a rain sensor on it. So if the customer walks away and it's open and running and it starts to rain, it'll actually start to close the cabinet on its own to protect the screen and everything in it. So, and here are the 3 sizes we produce right now. We've got a 103, a 130, and a 155. The 130 we've sold quite a few of. It seems to be the ideal size for a lot of situations. We've also sold quite a few of the 155s. The people who definitely want the size and have the money, those are usually where they're going, is the bigger, bolder kind of stuff. Again, weatherproof enclosure. You've got over 100,000 plus hours on the modules. If you were to run the things for 10 years straight, 24 hours a day, it would still be working. So here are a few installations that we've done. The one on the bottom is the one I was telling you about earlier, where the guy wanted the patio theater to come out the floor of his pool house. And as you can see, there's nothing there other than a lift and the screen. We've also, the one above, I don't believe that they recessed that one, but we've also had ones where, like I said, they've recessed it. I think I have a couple pictures in here of those. So here's the rack that would come with it. And like I said, full turnkey solution. Basically, you're able to take that screen and you could drop it anywhere and you're able to do pretty much anything you want with it. You can watch movies, you can watch TV. All you need to do is get that signal to the rack and you're able to watch anything. We also include the stingrays for the outdoor, for their surrounds and bass if they would like. It's a real great pairing of all of our products together in one solution. So here's a couple of examples of where this is what you would normally see a home theater in the outside environment at hotels or apartment buildings or high-end homes. A lot of it was projection, and they can really only use it at night because during the day, if there's any sunlight at all, they're not seeing anything. All they're seeing is a washed out image and barely at that. So patio theater, that was the idea, was to give a solution for these people who want TV by their pool or in the apartment buildings for community stuff. That's what we've come out with. And that is pretty much it so far. I guess on to questions and answers, or if you guys have any questions.
Okay, ¿alguna pregunta? ¿Alguien tiene alguna pregunta para Jeremy?
Yes, what?
Ok, como saben, las preguntas o cualquier situación respecto a todos los productos, características, listas de precios o demás, lo pueden ver con su asesor. Preguntas técnicas las pueden dirigir a soporte@novotec.com.mx. ¿Preguntas? Okay, Jeremy, we have no question at this time, but thank you for your time and presentation.
Oh, you guys don't have any questions?
Nope.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Well, if you guys have any questions, any concerns, if you've got customers that might be interested in any of our products, please get a hold of us. We can answer any questions you have, get you any information, whatever you guys need.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Jeremy.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for everything.
Bye.
Bye.